Hi, Stats One. I'm making this video to show you how to do the Unit 1 project. I've had a number of questions about it, so I thought a video might be helpful to everybody. So I'm sort of starting out in Canvas on the home page because this is our to-do list over here. So if you see Unit 1 project, sampling and descriptive statistics, you can click on it that way. There's other ways to get to it as well. That's just one of them. And I'm just going to download the Excel sheet. So once it downloads, so for me, it shows up here, and then I'm just going to pop it open. And hopefully Excel will open. I'm going to maximize it so you can see everything, and I'm going to enable editing. But remember, on the first tab, this is where we're going to do our sampling piece. So please take a minute to read the instructions. It may be helpful to you. And then I'm just going to go through the steps that I would do to do these different samples. And then we'll talk about part 2, where you're going to be making some charts and also a frequency table. This frequency table here is going to be helpful when we do the stratified sampling for part 1. Please notice for the frequency table, you're going to complete the following table, include the frequency of each manufacturer, the relative frequency for each manufacturer, and the cumulative relative frequency for each manufacturer. And then it says sort your data so it is smallest to largest by number of serials. And we're going to round our relative frequency and our cumulative relative frequency to 4 decimal places, but we don't need that piece for the sampling. The final tab is that serial data from Kaggle.com. And so here are all the serial names and then the manufacturers. So this data is sorted by manufacturer so that they're all grouped together. Okay, so part 1. The first sample that we are going to do is going to be our simple random sample. So we're going to pick a simple random sample of 10 serials, and we are going to describe our procedure, and we're going to be specific and use full sentences. So I don't need to go back here. I am just right here. Okay, so you can do your work here on this tab, or you can do your work on the serial data tab. So we're going to be using those random number generators. So I'm going to say this is my simple random section. And this is just one way to do it. There's other ways to do it. For simple random, you could put all of the names on little pieces of paper and put them in a hat, shake it up, and then pick the 10 you need. I'm going to use the rand array command. I need 10 serials. So I'm going to say, Excel, please give me one row with 10 columns. So that will give me 10 numbers. And then I'm going to have Excel pick the serials by number, and I'm going to use the row numbers. So over here on the left, maybe you can see that 2 is highlighted. That's my first serial. It's Mapo. So the smallest number I want Excel to choose from is 2. And then if I scroll down to the bottom, 78 is our last serial. That's Wheat Chex. So I want to have Excel to have 78 be the biggest number it chooses from. And then the options at the end are false for decimal, true for integers. We want integers. So when I hit enter, Excel gives me 10 numbers. Now remember, Excel is not going to keep those. Every time I do something to my Excel sheet, it's going to change those. So I'm going to copy those numbers, and then I'm going to paste them. And I probably should have started something out here. I'm going to paste special so that it's just the values. Notice they changed. I'm also going to copy this name down here. So I know that this is like the one that I'm going to keep down here. And these ones up here, they're going to change each time. So you can delete those. You can get rid of them however you want. I'm going to just keep them for this little video so you can see them. So these are the serials that I am going to choose for my simple random sample. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see if I have any duplicates. Luckily, I don't. If I did, I could go back up here, double click on it and hit enter, and I'd get 10 new numbers. And I could just pick, I could swap out 33, say, for 10 if there were 2 33s in this row. I lucked out and I didn't get that. So I'm gonna color in. I'll just make this one yellow. I'm gonna say, okay, my simple randoms are gonna be colored in yellow. You don't. Again, this is just one way to do it. So 74 is my first one that I'm gonna pick. That's double checks. I'm gonna highlight it. I can also right now copy it and go over to part 1 and paste it in my sample chart. Okay, so that is the first one that I'm going to choose. The next one I'm going to choose is cereal 33. So that is Frosted Flakes. I'm going to color it in just so I don't forget. And then I can go back here to my table and I can paste the value. Now I'm pasting values because if I just did Control V or paste normally, the yellow would come over. That's up to you. You could change that at the end. So this is just, again, one way to do this. 32 is the next one. I'm going to copy that. This time I did a Control C, go to part 1, paste my value, Fruit Loops. And then, so hopefully you see how to do the simple random. 73 would be the next one, 8, 36, 58, etc. until I had this whole table here filled in with cereals. Okay. So then the next one I'm going to do is the systematic sample. And also don't forget to go back here and explain how you did your sample for the simple random. Be specific, please, and use full sentences. So then for systematic, so I'm going to go up here and I'm going to write systematic. I'm going to make the systematic ones. I'm going to do orange. And I'll end up putting the ones that don't change down here. But systematic, first I'm going to pick a place to start. So I'm going to use my rand between. The smallest number I can pick is 2. The largest is 78. And I get 9. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste that down here. I'm going to use this paste this time. Paste my values. Oh, this time it changed to 21. So 21 will be the first cereal I pick. It's called Triples. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste that as my first cereal. And then in class, we talked about, since there's actually 77 cereals because they go from 2 to 78. So there's 77 cereals in total. For the systematic sample, I'm being asked to pick a sample of 15 in sample. So 77 divided by 15 is 5.13 repeating. So I'm going to pick every 5th cereal after 21. So 21 is my first cereal. So then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all bran with extra fiber is my second cereal. The next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is Crispix or Crispix. That's my third one. I'm going to keep counting by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my fourth one. See, if I just do Control V or paste, I get the color, but I can always go back and say, oh, I wanted to just do the values. Crunchy Right Nuggets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nutri-Grain Wheat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can do them all and then paste them in. Sometimes it's hard to remember where you are when you're counting. But I just wanted to show you. So say you're going and you're counting and you get down here to the bottom and you go 1, say 1, 2. Oh, at this point, you have to scroll back up to the beginning and say 3, 4, 5, for example. So if you get down to the end when you're doing the systematic and you still need more to finish off the full 15 for the sample, then just go back to the top and keep counting from there. Okay, so right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, see, I've already forgotten. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got to keep going and pasting them. I used to just highlight them and then go back and paste them in, but I think it might be easier to paste them as you go. So the last one I had was just right crunchy nuggets. So then I would want to do Nutri-Grain wheat, paste my values, my smacks, and so on. Okay. So then the next one we have to do is the one that's the most work, and that's the stratified sample. So it says to pick a stratified sample by manufacturer of 20 cereals. We're going to use 25% of the cereals from each stratum. We're going to round the 25% number to the nearest whole number. So this is where it's going to be helpful to pop over here to part 2 and do our number of cereals, our frequency column here. So for manufacturer A, I want to go over here to the cereal data tab again. And I can see for manufacturer A, there's only one cereal. For manufacturer G, you can do this in a couple of ways. You can do your count formula, or you could just highlight all those G's and then look down here and see that there's 22. Type in 22. If you do the count formula, you're going to want to do count A. That counts the number of, my help doesn't work, so I'm going to actually just go back here so you can see. So count A counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So I could go over here and I could highlight all these Ks and it would tell me, and then I'm going to hit enter and I get 23. For N, again, you can do it whichever way you want. It's a smaller amount here, so I have 6 for N. P, I'll show you the count formula again. That's count A. Click on your cereal data tab, highlight all your Ps, and hit enter. There's 9 from manufacturer P. For Q, there are 8. So I'm just showing you 2 different ways to do it. You could, you could just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? You just want to be careful. So this is what I need here so that I can figure out 25% of my cereals. So what I'm actually going to do is on the cereal tab where I'm doing all my work, I might run out of space here. So this is going to be my stratified. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to copy all of these cells, go to my cereal tab and paste them. Just barely fit. I lucked out there. So actually what I might do is just, I'm going to highlight all of these guys. I'm going to Control X. I'm going to cut them and slide them down a little bit just so I have more room. And so now I want to find 25%. So I'm messing around here. I don't really need to do all this, but this is the number of cereals frequency, and this I'm just going to write 25%. So I can do this in 2 ways. I can say equals 1 times 0.25 to get 25%. I can say take 22 and divide by 4. This turned it automatically into a percent. I'm going to put it back as a decimal just because we're going to round it in a minute. So you can either multiply by 0.25 or you can divide by 4. Both ways give you the same effect. I use cell references so I can just copy it down. And now what I want to do with these numbers is they're decimals, not the last 2, but the first 5. So I'm going to round these numbers. I can just do it by hand, or I can have Excel do it for me and use the reduce decimal function up here, or decrease decimal. And so now I know I'm going to take 0 cereals from manufacturer A, 6 from manufacturer G, 6 from K, 2 from N, 2P, 2Q, and 2R. Now I know how many cereals from each manufacturer I need. And now I can do what I did for my simple random. I can use the rand array feature. And now I know, well, I'm going to pick 0 here. So let's skip that one and do rand array here. I need 6 cereals, so 1 row, 6 columns, and I'm only wanting to pick cereals from manufacturer G. Those cereals start here at row 3 and go down to row 24. So I am going to say 3, 24, and then I always want to do true. So very similar to what we did for simple random, but we're picking from a different group of cereals, a smaller group, okay? Instead of picking up here from simple random where we picked from all of the cereals, we're picking from a smaller number of cereals from between 3 and 24, because that's where manufacturer G cereals are. So you can copy all of this now and paste it so that you don't lose these numbers. I'm going to show you something too. So if you copy it, I think I can paste it directly over where it came from. Yeah, so now what has happened here is these are just numbers now. They aren't the formulas, and these ones won't change. And I didn't get any repeats, so I was lucky there. So now I'm going to do it again, rand array. I still need 1 row, 6 columns of numbers because I need 6, but I want them from manufacturer K. Those cereals start here in row 25 and go to row 47. So it's going to be pick between 25 and 47, and please pick integers. So again, I have 6 numbers. I'm going to copy them. I'm going to paste their values. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 numbers that aren't going to change. Do I have any repeats? I don't. I keep getting lucky. And I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of them, but obviously for this guy, 1 row, I'm going to only pick 2 numbers, so 2 columns. I'm going to see, where does manufacturer N start? On number 48, and it goes to 53. Oops. 48 to 53. 48, 53, true. And I get 2 numbers. I'm going to copy them, and I'm going to paste the values right over top. That time they didn't change. I can't tell you why. All right, so I haven't been highlighting anything, so that's a bit of a bummer. I got to go back through and do that one. So let's do our stratified in green. So this is where my cereals start. So you know what? I'm going to show you something. So I don't need a lot of this information here, right? This is what type of cereal, calories. I just highlighted up here on the columns, and I'm going to hide those columns for a minute. So see now how the columns go for A, B, Q. I just hid all the rest of them. I can either undo that right now if you don't like that, or if you highlight B and Q and right click, you'll see unhide, and then they'll just pop back. All right, I'm going to hide C through P. It's just going to make it a little bit easier when I'm doing my highlighting. So 9, 19, 6, 21, etc. So 19 is green, 6 is green, 21 is green. And these are all going to go here in that, as I do this table. So same thing that we did before, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You want to copy that. You want to paste, maybe you want to paste the value so you don't get the coloring, right? Maybe as you go, you do that. Copy, paste special, etc. And so when I check your project, I'm going to look at these names and I'm going to see, do you have, 6 from General Mills? Do you have 6 from, what's the next one? Kellogg's. And are they randomly spaced? Okay. So you're going to go through and you're going to put all those in. Now that's exhausting. I will say that the stratified is the hardest one. So now cluster is going to be a lot better. We're going to do a cluster sample of cereals from 2 manufacturers. The number of cereals will vary for everybody. So I have put in 30 spaces for you. You may need less than that, or you may need more, in which case you can just add another. You could copy this and paste it over here. And then, I still had something else. I'm going to undo that. I still had that copied from before. If I copy these, how about I click copy this time and then I paste them. I can go in here and change the numbers. I can make this 31, and then I had a formula in here for the numberings. So you may need to do that. You may not need to do that. So just to show you. All right. So cluster sample, 2 manufacturers. Going back to our cereal tab, cluster. This time I'm going to make the clusters. Let's make them. I don't think we've used blue yet. I sort of think of these manufacturers, if you think of them as having their own unique number, then to pick 2 of them, you can use rand array or rand between twice. 1 row, 2 columns. I'm going to pick between cereal manufacturer 1 and manufacturer 7. And then as always, I want an integer. And I get manufacturer 3 and 2. And so 3 and 2 are G and K. So what's nice about this is when I highlight, I am going to take all of my G names and copy all of those, Control C. The only bummer is if I paste them right here, I might go too far. But then I can just keep doing that, right? So now I'm actually going to cut them this time, because I don't want them there. And I'm going to paste them. And then I'm going to cut these guys. And I am going to paste them. And I have all of my Gs. So, because that was manufacturer 2. So manufacturer 3, I actually got this is the largest sample you can get, which is kind of funny. So I'm going to copy all of K's names. And I'm going to paste those values. And so see here, I would need to make that extra set of columns because I have so many in this sample because I got the 2 largest manufacturers. So, hopefully that makes sense as you're going through. I just making that simple random match in the colors. This is how I pick the samples when I did this project out the first time. Again, you're going to want to fix this so that it's over here, so that it sort of matches and neatly and nice. But that's how you pick the samples. And then, of course, you want to make sure you describe your procedure, be specific and useful sentences so I can see how you did it. It's good, however you choose to do it, if you show some work somewhere, right? So I can sort of follow along with how you've done it. That's really helpful. But that's the sampling piece for the project. For part 2, once you have your manufacturer frequencies here, like I said up here in the instructions, please sort your data so it is smallest to largest. What we're going to do is we're going to highlight, if you've already done relative frequency and your cumulative relative frequency, you want to highlight all of the rows so that everything that goes together stays together. You're going to go to data. You're going to choose the large sort here, and you're going to sort on column B, cell values, and we're going to go smallest to largest. So now the manufacturers have changed their order, which is, we wouldn't have wanted that over here, but it's fine for here, and they go from smallest to largest. Once we have this all filled in, you can highlight the manufacturer and number of cereals frequency, go to insert, and choose your histogram, okay? And then you're going to want to adjust that so that it is by manufacturer. So however you need to do it, you either want to format your axis or format your data series, depending on what kind of computer you have. And then for your box plot, when you do your box plot, only highlight the frequency column. Otherwise, you'll get a really funky looking box plot that won't make any sense and isn't really what I'm looking for here. Okay, so this is going down here for the box plot. Remember to change your titles for both of these charts. I'm just going to shrink this a little bit. So then you're going to answer these questions. Are the data discrete or continuous, and how do you know? You're going to do your 5-number summary, either with the formulas or off of your box plot. You're going to calculate your IQR. Then you're going to tell me what the shape of the histogram and the box plot imply about the concentration of data. Please use complete sentences. Tell me what the IQR represents in this problem, and tell me how you can determine if there are any potential outliers using the IQR. So that is the Unit 1 project on sampling and descriptive statistics, and hopefully this video was helpful.